Your current reality represents just one of countless possibilities that your mind is actualizing at this very second. However, here's the crucial insight. You are not undertaking this consciously, and that unconscious process is generating a life you didn't deliberately choose. The information you are about to receive could fundamentally alter your destiny. The reality you inhabit isn't the sole option, nor is it necessarily the optimal one. Quantum physics has already validated this. Your observation actively shapes your world, and toward the conclusion, I will unveil a transformative 7-day challenge designed to practically and measurably activate this inherent power in your life. This isn't merely a video, it's an experiment, and you are the primary participant. Imagine for a moment that every experience you've had thus far, every relationship, every missed opportunity, every recurring pattern, isn't a fixed destiny, but merely the outcome of a particular way of perceiving reality. And right now, as you absorb these words, you possess the capacity to shift that perception and figuratively leap into an entirely different timeline. This isn't fantasy, it's pure physics. In 1909, an experiment forever altered our comprehension of reality. Jeffrey Taylor directed individual electrons toward a wall featuring 2 slits. Each electron, in a manner deemed impossible by classical physics, somehow traversed both slits simultaneously, generating an interference pattern as though it were a wave splitting and then recombining. A single electron, yet 2 paths concurrently. However, when Taylor opted to observe which slit the electron actually passed through, an extraordinary event transpired. The electron immediately behaved as a normal particle, moving through only 1 slit. The interference pattern vanished. The sole differentiator was conscious observation. Quantum reality had responded to the act of being observed. Scientists have sought to explain this as a phenomenon exclusively occurring at the subatomic level, as if your daily life were immune to these fundamental laws. Yet, there's a profound flaw in that perspective. You are entirely composed of quantum particles. Your brain processes information through quantum operations. Every thought you conceive arises from quantum activity within your nervous system. If conscious observation can collapse an electron's wave function, transforming infinite possibilities into a specific reality, what do you suppose it's accomplishing with your life every second of every day? At this very moment, as you process these words, your mind is observing, and that observation is literally collapsing infinite quantum possibilities into the specific reality you are currently experiencing. The question isn't whether this is happening. The question is, are you observing consciously, or is your observation operating on autopilot, perpetually recreating the same patterns? Ancient masters were aware of this. Buddha didn't just metaphorically state, all that we are is the result of what we have thought. He was describing the quantum mechanics of consciousness. Hermes Trismegistus didn't write, quote, 1 as abstract philosophy. He was encoding the laws of quantum manifestation. But here's the truth that changes everything. You can choose what to observe, and when you alter your observation, you change your reality, not gradually, but instantaneously. In 1982, French physicist Alain Aspect conducted an experiment that should have revolutionized our understanding of existence. He took two photons that had been quantum entangled and separated them by kilometers. When he measured the properties of one, the other photon, regardless of the distance, instantaneously altered its properties to correspond with the first. Faster than the speed of light, with no time for a signal to travel between them, Einstein had dismissed this as spooky action at a distance because it violated his theories. Yet there it was, happening, measurable, repeatable. The universe isn't a collection of separate objects, it's an interconnected field of consciousness, and you are an integral part of that field. According to the Big Bang theory, all matter in the universe was once compressed into an infinitely small point. Everything was connected. Everything was entangled. That includes every atom of your body, every photon striking your retina, every molecule of air you inhale. At the quantum level, there is no genuine separation between you and the universe you observe. When you observe something, you aren't merely looking at an external entity. You are interacting with an aspect of a unified quantum field of which you yourself are a part, and that interaction is literally shaping what you experience. But here comes the part that might either alarm or liberate you. You've been doing this your entire life. Every outcome you've encountered, every pattern that has recurred, and every synchronization you've experienced has been the universe's response to the frequency of your observation. Your mind isn't a singular entity. It's an intricate quantum ecosystem where the majority of processing occurs beyond the threshold of your ordinary awareness. Neuroscientists have revealed that your brain processes approximately 400 billion bits of information per second, yet your conscious mind can only manage about 2,000 bits per second. Where does the remainder reside? Within the quantum layers of your mind, which are also observing collapsing probabilities and co-creating your reality. In fact, these layers are shaping more of your reality than your conscious mind, as they are processing 200,000 times more information. These unconscious levels were programmed during your early years, when your brain operated in theta wave states, the very state of deep hypnosis. Between the ages of 0 and 7, your subconscious mind assimilated beliefs about what is achievable, what you deserve, how relationships function, and the meaning of money. These beliefs evolved into perceptual filters, automatic modes of observation, and have since perpetually recreated the same realities, regardless of your conscious desires. This is why you might consciously visualize abundance, but if your subconscious operates from a scarcity mindset, the quantum field receives conflicting signals. The stronger signals, those charged with more emotional intensity and repetition, are the ones that prevail. However, there is a silver lining. Quantum patterns are mutable. Your subconscious mind remains quantum, a field of probabilities. And fields of probabilities can be collapsed into novel configurations. Ancient wisdom recognized this, which is why meditative practices were developed not for mere relaxation, but to access states of consciousness where genuine quantum shifts are possible. Time is not what you perceive it to be. Newton envisioned it as a uniformly flowing river. Einstein demonstrated its relativity, But quantum physics unveiled something even more radical. At the quantum level, past, present, and future coexist simultaneously. Delayed choice experiments have shown that decisions made in the present can literally alter events that have already transpired in the past. When you shift your observation in the present, you not only influence your future, you actively reorder your past. The memories you hold, the lessons you gleaned, the significance you assigned to life events. Everything can retroactively change when your present perspective shifts. And when your past transforms, your future automatically reconfigures. This clarifies why manifestations sometimes appear instantaneous. It's not that you've created something entirely new. Rather, you've transitioned into a timeline where that reality already existed. Right now, as you absorb these words, your brain generates an electromagnetic field that extends several meters beyond your physical form. Scientists at the HeartMath Institute have measured that, when your thoughts, emotions, and intentions are aligned, your field becomes coherent and its waves synchronize. In this state of coherence, something extraordinary occurs. Your personal field synchronizes with Earth's electromagnetic field, known as the Schumann resonance. This synchronization connects you to the global quantum information field. Ancients referred to it as Akasha, Nut, or Tau. Modern physicists call it the zero-point field. It is the medium through which all quantum information instantaneously communicates across the universe. And when you are in coherence, you gain access to it. Yet, most people live in quantum incoherence. Their thoughts drift in one direction, their emotions in another, and their actions in a third. Their electromagnetic field becomes chaotic, and from this state, they observe in a fragmented manner, creating realities that mirror their inner disarray. Quantum coherence isn't a mystical special state. It is your natural equilibrium. However, modern life often keeps most individuals in chronic incoherence, and from this incoherence, you access versions of yourself driven by survival, not conscious creation. When you achieve coherence, your intuition sharpens because you receive information directly from the quantum field. Your creativity expands as you access possibilities unavailable from incoherence. Your manifestations accelerate because your observation becomes more focused and potent. There is a fundamental distinction between merely looking and actively observing. When you look, you utilize your physical eyes. When you observe, you employ your consciousness to impart meaning. And it is this act of bestowing meaning that collapses quantum probabilities. The ancient masters of India developed specific practices for this purpose. The state of Sakibaba, or the witness state, is not a passive condition. Quite the opposite, it embodies the most dynamic form of awareness imaginable. When you enter this state, you are neither engulfed by your thoughts nor defined by your emotions. Instead, you are an observer of everything from a vantage point of pure consciousness, intensely present. From this perspective, you unlock a capacity that neuroscientists are only just beginning to comprehend. The ability to directly influence your brain's activity through conscious observation. Research on neuroplasticity has consistently shown that deliberate observation of your mental processes literally reshapes the physical structure of your brain. Yet, its impact goes even deeper than that. When you observe from the witness state, you tap into a phenomenon known as _3_. This means that rather than your reality being dictated by physical circumstances, your conscious observation starts to determine those physical conditions. It's the difference between merely being a victim of your circumstances and actively becoming a conscious creator of them. The witness state isn't confined to meditation. It's a condition you can sustain through all your daily activities. For instance, when someone criticizes you and you can maintain the witness state, observing your emotional reaction without identifying with it, you are practicing downward causation. Similarly, when faced with a financial challenge, if you can uphold the witness state, observing your fears without being controlled by them, you are accessing timelines where solutions already exist as possibilities. Everything in the universe operates on vibration. Atoms vibrate, molecules vibrate, your brain vibrates, your thoughts are electromagnetic vibrations, and your emotions are specific vibratory patterns. Different frequencies of vibration open doors to different quantum realities. Scientists have identified 5 primary types of brainwaves. Beta waves, ranging from 13 to 30 hertz. Hertz represent your normal waking state, offering access only to the reality you already perceive. Alpha waves, from 8 to 13 hertz, emerge when you relax, and they open pathways to information unavailable in the beta state. Theta waves, spanning 4 to 8 hertz, are where transformative magic truly happens. This is the state of REM sleep and advanced meditation. In the theta state, you don't just gain access to new information. You tap into new possibilities, new timelines, and new versions of yourself. Delta waves, at 0.5 to 4 hertz, signify a direct connection to the universal quantum field. Additionally, there is a 5th frequency, which scientists are just starting to investigate. Gamma waves, ranging from 30 hertz and above, which arise during moments of sudden insight and mystical experiences. Each frequency provides access to a distinct level of reality. In beta, you manifest from a place of survival. In alpha, from creativity. In theta, from pure potential. In delta, from unity with the quantum field. And in gamma, from enlightened consciousness. Ancient masters mastered the art of maintaining access to multiple frequencies simultaneously during their daily lives. The Taoists called this quote 4, or functioning from various levels of consciousness concurrently. When you achieve this, you gain access to possibilities that only become accessible when multiple levels operate in coherence. Your heart is far more than a simple pump. It is the most powerful electromagnetic organ in your body, generating an electrical field 60 times stronger than the brain and a magnetic field 5,000 times more potent. Your heart possesses its own independent nervous system, comprising approximately 40,000 neurons that process information without input from the brain. Scientists refer to this as the quote 5, and this cardiac brain continuously sends more information to the cranial brain than it receives. In essence, your heart influences your thoughts more profoundly than your thoughts influence your heart. When your heart establishes a coherent pattern, your brain automatically synchronizes with that coherence. brain waves stabilize, neurotransmitters optimize, and your personal electromagnetic field expands and becomes more organized. This is akin to the difference between a radio broadcasting static and one perfectly tuned. When your personal field is coherent, you can tune in to information and opportunities that were always present but inaccessible from a state of incoherence. When your heart enters profound coherence, you synchronize with the fundamental frequency of the universe itself. Physicists have measured this frequency, known as the Schumann resonances, at approximately 7.83 Hz. This is the Earth's electromagnetic frequency, and remarkably, 7.83 Hz falls precisely within the alpha brainwave range, the state linked to creativity, intuition, and access to non-local information. When your heart achieves deep coherence, your brain naturally synchronizes with the Schumann resonance. You establish an electromagnetic connection with Earth's information field, a repository containing everything. Every thought ever conceived, every discovery ever made, every solution ever found. Ancient civilizations referred to this as the Akashic Records. Contemporary scientists label it the quantum information field. When you master the art of consciously entering heart coherence, you gain access to this field, and once accessible, everything transforms. Ideas flow in. Opportunities arise, the right individuals enter your life, and resources materialize. This doesn't happen because you forced it, but because you've tuned in to the frequency where these things already exist. There's a distinct technique, integrating ancient wisdom with modern scientific understanding. Every spiritual tradition globally developed specific breathing exercises, recognizing breath as the bridge between the physical and quantum realms. Your breathing pattern directly influences your heart rhythm, which in turn dictates your brain state. And your brain state determines the quantum reality you perceive. This technique is founded on a precise mathematical pattern. Inhale for 5 seconds, then exhale for 5 seconds, without pauses, focusing on your heart area. This achieves exactly 6 breaths per minute, generating a heart rate variability of 0.1 Hz, the optimal frequency for heart coherence. However, what truly renders this technique quantum is the conscious direction of your attention to your heart while breathing. This combination activates your default mode network in an entirely different manner. Instead of getting lost in past or future thoughts, you connect with the present moment, with the quantum field of infinite possibilities. In this state, thoughts quieten, emotions stabilize, and intuition sharpens. You begin to perceive information normally below your conscious threshold. You might sense others' emotions, foresee opportunities before their physical manifestation, and know things without understanding how you know them. The distinction between those who manifest effortlessly and those who struggle for years isn't in their techniques, but in their vibrational state. Effortless manifestors aren't striving to acquire something. Vibrationally speaking, they already possess it. From this state of already having, physical manifestation is merely the translation of an already existing energetic reality. Those who struggle are in a state of not having. They vibrate lack, need, and frustration. From this state, Regardless of the techniques employed, they continue to manifest more evidence of not having. The state of already having it isn't about pretending to possess something you physically lack. It's about acknowledging that, at a quantum level, all possibilities already exist simultaneously. When you vibrationally align with your preferred possibility, you start experiencing physical evidence of that reality. Quantum physicists call this superposition. All potential configurations of a quantum system exist concurrently until observation collapses a specific possibility into manifest experience. The abundance you desire, the relationship you crave, the health you wish for, everything already exists within the quantum field of possibilities. The question isn't how to create these things. The question is, how do you tune in to the versions of reality where they are already present? And the answer lies in understanding the difference between outcome-based vibrational states and identity-based states. When you focus on the outcome, Quote 7, you're vibrating from the perspective of someone who doesn't have $100,000. The vibration of wanting is the vibration of not having. When you focus on identity, Quote 8, you're vibrating from the perspective of someone for whom abundance is natural. And from that vibration, specific forms of abundance naturally appear. Ancient masters understood this. That's why Jesus said, Quote 9, he wasn't referring to a future reward. He was describing present quantum reality. That's why Buddha taught that suffering originates from attachment to desire. When you're attached to a specific outcome, you're vibrating lack. When you recognize your innate completeness, desire transforms into preference, and preferences manifest naturally. Your emotions aren't random chemical reactions. They are a sophisticated quantum navigation system, constantly indicating your alignment with different timelines. When you feel enthusiasm, you're attuned to a timeline where your desires are manifesting. When you experience gratitude, you're attuned to a timeline where abundance is already a reality for you. Similarly, when love is your emotional state, you're aligned with a timeline where connection and harmony naturally thrive. Conversely, fear connects you to a reality where your aspirations fail to materialize. Dwelling in resentment places you on a timeline where you perceive yourself as a victim. And when hopelessness takes hold, you find yourself on a timeline where positive change seems impossible. Each emotion possesses a distinct electromagnetic signature. These differing emotional frequencies literally alter your personal electromagnetic field, and this field constantly interacts with the quantum field of your surroundings. Essentially, every emotion you feel is like tuning your quantum receiver to various stations of reality. The ancients recognized this profound truth. This understanding is why Buddhists cultivated practices aimed at fostering compassion, equanimity, and empathetic joy. It's why Sufis developed ecstatic states to connect with divine reality, and it's why Taoists spoke of transforming negative emotions into cultivated energy. Their aim wasn't moral control over emotions. Rather, they used their emotions as tools for quantum navigation. The quantum approach diverges from merely suppressing negative emotions and forcing positive ones. Instead of directly altering an emotion, you utilize it as diagnostic information. You ask yourself, What thought or belief is generating this emotional response? And is that thought congruent with the reality I wish to experience? If it's not aligned, you don't fight the emotion. You adjust the underlying thought that's causing it. When the thought shifts, the emotion automatically transforms, consequently tuning you into a different timeline. Consider the difference when you're feeling down and think, quote, 11. This identifies you with the emotion. In contrast, stating, quote, 12, acknowledges you as the observer of the emotion. This subtle linguistic shift reflects a monumental difference in perspective. When you become the observer of your emotions, you can wield them as quantum navigational instruments. You can then inquire, quote, 13, emotions are temporary, automatic bodily reactions to thoughts. Feelings, however, are prolonged states of being that emanate from your deepest identity. It's your feelings, not your emotions, that consistently determine which timelines are accessible to you. You can hold positive thoughts temporarily, but if your underlying feeling is one of unworthiness or limitation, you will eventually revert to manifesting realities that mirror those deeper feelings. This explains why many people experience only fleeting manifestations. They achieve a desired outcome, but cannot sustain it. It's not that they are technically doing something incorrect. Rather, their deep-seated feelings are out of sync with what they are striving to manifest. The ancients grasped this, hence their emphasis on character transformation and the purification of the heart. They understood that you cannot consistently manifest from a level higher than your vibratory state. Buddha habitually termed this karma, the tendency of deep patterns to recreate themselves until consciously transformed. Jesus referred to it as being born again, the transformation of your fundamental identity. The Hermeticists called it transmutatio, converting the base metals of personality into the gold of enlightened consciousness. Lasting manifestation necessitates alignment between your conscious desires and your deepest unconscious feelings. When you achieve this congruence, manifestation ceases to feel like effort. It simply becomes who you are. Your deepest feelings were shaped during the most intense moments of your life, particularly in your early years. Every significant experience left an energetic impression on your system, and these impressions became the background feelings that color your entire experience. However, these background feelings are not definitive truths about you. They are energetic interpretations of past experiences, and interpretations can be altered. The quantum approach doesn't focus on changing the past, but rather on changing your energetic relationship with the past from the present. Time is quantum. When you modify your present state of consciousness, you literally alter the impact that past events have on your current energetic system. This isn't denial, it's quantum recontextualization. If you have a feeling of unworthiness formed during a childhood rejection, you don't need to re-experience that event. Instead, you can achieve quantum coherence in the present moment, and from that expansive state, project love and understanding towards the younger version of yourself who endured that rejection. When you do this, the emotional impact of that experience transforms, not because the event itself has altered, but because your energetic interpretation of it has shifted. Consequently, when the energetic interpretation changes, the underlying feeling associated with that experience also changes. On a quantum level, by modifying your current perception of a past event, you are literally tapping into a different timeline where that experience held a different meaning. Most individuals believe their identity is fixed, but from a quantum standpoint, your identity is a pattern of observation you have consistently chosen to maintain. And like any quantum pattern, it can be collapsed into a new configuration through conscious observation. When you undergo an experience that expands your consciousness beyond the usual confines of your identity, you temporarily access timelines where various versions of yourself are possible. If you can sustain that expanded awareness long enough for it to integrate, you literally become a different person. Not gradually, but instantaneously. It's a quantum leap in identity. Ancient mystics called this moksha, satori, fana, or mystical union. All these terms described the same quantum phenomenon, the sudden collapse of a limited identity and the emergence of an expanded one. You don't need a dramatic mystical experience to initiate this process. You can consciously induce it through guided neuroplasticity. Your brain is constantly forging new neural connections based on your experiences. When you consciously opt for new experiences, you compel your brain to create new connections. Once sufficient new connections form, a new neural network emerges, and this new network supports a new identity. For a new identity to solidify, it needs consistent reinforcement for approximately 66 days. During this period, your nervous system is deciding whether to adopt the new neural network as its default pattern or revert to old ones. The consistency of your practice determines the outcome. If you consistently maintain the new thoughts, emotions, and behaviors, the new identity becomes your new normal. You can become the version of yourself that is naturally abundant, loving, creative, and healthy. Not by pretending to be that person, but by literally becoming that person at a neurological and quantum level. There's a fundamental distinction between having a purpose and being your purpose. When you have a purpose, it's an external goal you strive to achieve. When you are your purpose, it's a frequency you radiate, a state of being you naturally express. When you're trying to achieve an external purpose, you're vibrating from a place of lack. When you are your purpose, you're vibrating from completeness. And from that vibration, the opportunities, resources, and people you need naturally appear. Your purpose is encoded within your quantum DNA. It exists in the unique frequency of your personal electromagnetic field. The challenge is that most people have been conditioned to believe their purpose must be something grand. But from a quantum perspective, there are no small purposes, only authentic and inauthentic frequencies. When an individual authentically expresses their unique frequency, that expression contributes to the evolution of the collective quantum field. And when you are genuinely contributing, that field supports you in return. This isn't about manipulating the universe. It's about being in natural flow with the evolutionary intelligence of the universe. Surrender is the most misunderstood of all spiritual practices. Quantum surrender isn't giving up. It's the recognition that you are part of an infinite intelligence that has access to possibilities your conscious mind could never conceive. Quantum physicists have discovered that the universe is fundamentally intelligent. It's not a random collection of particles. It's a self-organizing system constantly evolving towards greater complexity, beauty, and coherence. When you surrender quantum mechanically, you do not relinquish your personal power. Instead, you acknowledge that your personal power is an expression of a much larger universal power. You stop attempting to micromanage every detail of how your desires manifest. You concentrate on sustaining the frequency of what you wish to experience and allow universal intelligence to determine the specific form it takes. This releases an enormous amount of energy that you previously expended trying to control the universe, and that liberated energy becomes pure manifestation power. To tap into this form of action harmonized with evolutionary intelligence, you must release the illusion of discrete control. The ego perceives you as a separate entity in a hostile cosmos that needs manipulation. Yet from a quantum standpoint, separation is a mere illusion. You are an integral part of a unified consciousness field, continuously organizing itself to foster the evolution of all its components. It's akin to ceasing to swim against a river's current and instead allowing its flow to naturally guide you where it's already heading. Universal intelligence communicates with you through your intuition, your zest, and your innermost sense of what is right for you. Societal conditioning speaks through your fears, your obligations, and your craving for external validation. The voice of universal intelligence feels expansive, nurturing, and inviting. Even when it steers you towards something challenging, there's an underlying quality of fundamental affirmation. The voice of conditioning feels constricting, fearful, and compulsory. Even when it offers something seemingly secure, there's an underlying quality of essential negation. When you consistently learn to heed the voice of universal intelligence, your life begins to unfold in a seemingly magical way. The appropriate decisions become evident, opportunities materialize at the opportune moment, resources appear precisely when you need them. Ordinary confidence is rooted in past evidence. Quantum confidence stems from the understanding that the universe is inherently intelligent and benevolent, even when temporary circumstances might suggest otherwise. When you grasp that all possibilities coexist simultaneously in the quantum field, you develop an intrinsic assurance in your capacity to navigate toward your preferred outcomes. When you comprehend your quantum connection to all intelligence in the universe, you cultivate an innate trust that the information you require will be accessible when needed. When you understand that time is fluid, allowing you to access timelines where solutions already exist, you develop a natural certainty that any challenge is temporary and solvable. From this quantum confidence, you act out of inspiration rather than fear, from flow instead of urgency, from abundance rather than desperation. And when your actions are driven by inspiration, flow, and abundance, they naturally align with the universe's evolutionary intelligence. Existence isn't a problem to be solved, it's a game to be played. When you view life as a problem, every challenge feels like proof that something is amiss. When you see life as a game, each challenge transforms into an intriguing level to master. From this game-like perspective, you stop taking results so seriously, which paradoxically allows you to achieve superior outcomes. You begin to experiment with diverse approaches. You cultivate natural resilience because failure isn't evidence of personal inadequacy, but rather information about what doesn't work. Quantum physicists have discovered that the universe itself seems to be playing. Quantum particles don't behave in predictable, serious ways. They behave in creative, surprising manners, as if the universe is constantly improvising. And you are a part of that cosmic improvisation. Every choice you make contributes to the universe's evolutionary creativity. Hindus called it Leela, the divine play. Sufis developed ecstatic dances, celebrating the pure joy of existence. Zen masters nurtured a beginner's mind, fresh curiosity, and delight. They weren't evading life's seriousness. They were accessing a form of seriousness so profound that it becomes playful. It's the distinction between taking life seriously versus taking yourself too seriously. When you embrace life with complete seriousness, while maintaining a playful perspective on your role within it, you recognize that your choices matter immensely, but you also understand that you cannot derail the cosmic game. From this vantage point, you begin to trust your natural intuition more than intricate strategies. You start taking creative risks. You begin to relish the manifestation process as much as the results. And when you enjoy the process, your manifestations accelerate dramatically because enjoyment is one of the most potent manifestation frequencies in existence. Love isn't just an emotion. It's the fundamental force uniting the universe. Physicists refer to it as the strong nuclear force. Biologists observe it as cooperation and symbiosis. Cosmologists perceive it as the evolutionary force organizing matter into more complex forms. But there are different octaves of love, each with varying capacities for manifestation. Conditional love depends on things conforming to our desires. Unconditional love exists regardless of circumstances, but there's an even higher octave, love as a conscious creative force. When you access this level, you understand that your love literally shapes your reality. Each time you opt for love over fear, you're causing quantum probabilities to converge into more harmonious outcomes. Ancient sages understood this. This is why Jesus urged, "Love your enemies, not as a moral decree, but as a technique for quantum manifestation." When you can maintain love, even towards those who challenge you, you demonstrate mastery over your vibrational state. This is why Buddha taught loving kindness towards all beings. He knew that cultivating universal love expands your electromagnetic field in a way that naturally attracts harmonious experiences. When you create from a place of fear, you manifest more things to be afraid of. When you create from a place of love, you manifest more things to love. It truly is both that simple and that profound. Quantum mastery isn't a destination. It's an ongoing process of remembering your true essence and choosing to act from that truth in every moment. When conscious observation, quantum coherence, expanded states, and unconditional love are fully integrated, you become what the ancients called, by various names, Bodhisattva, Saint, Wali, Sage. But all describe the same quantum state, fully awakened consciousness operating in perfect harmony with the universe's evolutionary intelligence. From this state, manifestation is no longer something you do, it's something you are. You don't manifest abundance. You are abundance, and it expresses naturally through you. You don't manifest love. You are love. You don't manifest creativity. You are creativity. This is the culmination of the quantum path, the realization that you were never separate from what you sought to manifest. You always were it, but you were observing through filters of limitation that obscured your true nature. When those filters completely dissolve, what remains is pure consciousness, expressing itself as your unique way of being in the world. Yet, even in this state of mastery, the process continues because the universe itself is evolving, and as a conscious expression of the universe, so are you. There are always new depths of love to explore, new dimensions of creativity to express, new ways to contribute to the evolution of the whole. And in that continuous evolution, you discover something that transcends even the most beautiful manifestation results. The pure joy of consciously participating in creation's infinite unfolding. As we near the end of this shared journey, I want to leave you with an insight that can underpin any practice you choose to develop. You are not your personal narrative, your thoughts, your emotions, your body, or even your personality. You are the conscious observer experiencing all these things, and that conscious observer is eternal, boundless, and unified with the creative intelligence of the universe itself. From this vantage point, your entire life is an opportunity to recall and express this fundamental truth. Every time you choose conscious observation over unconscious identification, coherence over chaos, love over fear, or trust over control, you are practicing quantum mastery. You are remembering who you truly are. You are consciously participating in the evolution of consciousness itself. From this ultimate perspective, quantum manifestation isn't about acquiring something you lack. It's about expressing what you already are in progressively more beautiful and beneficial ways. It's about becoming a gift to the world, not because you need to earn love, but because giving your unique gift is the natural expression of awakened consciousness. It's about creating a life that is a work of art, not because you need to impress anyone, but because beauty naturally emerges when you live from your most authentic core. And it's about contributing to the evolution of humanity and the planet, not because you have a heavy moral obligation, but because serving the whole spontaneously occurs when you recognize that you are not separate from it. If you've made it this far, it means something within you has resonated with these quantum truths. And now comes the part that will separate those who merely consume information from those who truly transform their reality. I propose a 7-day challenge to activate your power as a conscious quantum observer. This is not a thought experiment. It's a precise protocol designed to create measurable shifts in your experience. Day 1. Heart coherence activation. Throughout the day, whenever you remember, practice coherence breathing. 5 seconds inhaling, 5 seconds exhaling, focusing on your heart. Do this at least 5 times per hour. Witness how your emotional state, mental clarity, and the responses you evoke from others shift. Day 2. The awakening of the observer. Throughout your daily activities, practice maintaining an observational stance. When conversing, notice your own reactions without identifying with them. When faced with any challenge, ask yourself, Quote 15. Observe how this outlook transforms the nature of your experiences. Day 3. Quantum emotional navigation. Utilize your emotions as a navigational system. Each time you feel an emotion, inquire. Quote 16. If the answer displeases you, consciously redirect your focus toward thoughts that generate emotions aligned with your preferred reality. Day 4. The practice of pre-possession. Select a specific desire you wish to manifest for the entire day. Practice vibrating from the state of already possessing it. Do not merely visualize having it in the future. Feel the frequency of already having it now. Observe what ideas, opportunities, or synchronicities emerge. Day 5. Quantum recontextualization of the past. Identify a past experience that still carries emotional weight. Enter into deep heart coherence, and from that state, send love and understanding to the younger version of yourself who lived through that experience. Notice how your current relationship with that memory changes. Day 6. Active quantum surrender. Pinpoint an area of your life where you've been struggling to dictate outcomes. Practice active surrender. Maintain clarity in your intention, but release attachment to the specific how of its manifestation. Act from inspiration, not urgency. Observe what transpires when you cease forcing things. Day 7. The integration of love as a creative force throughout the day. Consciously choose love in every interaction, especially when your ego wishes to retract, not as a performance, but as a quantum experiment. Observe how the quality of your experiences changes when you create from love instead of fear. At the end of the 7 days, document precisely what changes you observed, not changes you expected, but changes you genuinely experienced. Vero, if you honestly completed the 7-day challenge, you've demonstrated readiness for something more profound. This technique has been safeguarded in the most esoteric traditions for millennia, and is founded on the quantum principle that identity can shift instantaneously when you access the correct state of consciousness. The quantum identity collapse technique. 1. Enter deep heart coherence for at least 10 minutes until you sense your electromagnetic field has fully stabilized. 2. From that state, ask yourself, quote 18. Do not seek an intellectual answer. Allow a direct experience of your essential nature to emerge. 3. When you connect with that space of pure consciousness, ask yourself how this consciousness would express itself through the personality you choose to be. Permit a new version of yourself to arise from that essential consciousness. 4. Fully embody what it would be like to live as that new version. Do not visualize from an external perspective. Inhabit that identity from within. Feel its emotions, thoughts, and way of interacting with the world. 5. When this new identity feels completely real, make an internal declaration. This is who I choose to be from this moment forward, not as an affirmation, but as an acknowledgement of a quantum reality that already exists. 6. Open your eyes and live from that new identity for the next 48 hours. Do not try to maintain it. Simply allow it to express itself naturally. This technique works because you are consciously accessing the quantum mechanism by which identity is formed and transformed. When practiced from a state of true coherence, the changes can be immediate and permanent. But remember this, the real power isn't in the technique, it's in the recognition that you are the conscious observer who can choose what to observe in every moment. Share your experience of the 7-day challenge in the comments. What specific changes did you observe? What revelations emerged? Your testimony might be exactly what someone else needs to hear to begin their own quantum awakening. If you feel compelled to deepen your mastery as a conscious quantum observer, subscribe to Manifiesta L369 TV, where we continue to explore the more advanced dimensions of conscious creation. Your awakening isn't just for you. It's a contribution to the evolution of human consciousness itself. And remember, in every moment you choose conscious observation over unconscious identification, you are participating in the most significant quantum experiment of all. Humanity's awakening to its true nature as conscious co-creators of reality. What perspective of reality are you choosing to acknowledge at this moment? The future of human consciousness rests on quantum observers like yourself, those prepared to recall their true identity. Your expedition has just started.